Welcome to another deep dive into history. You know, one of history's biggest mysteries,
Yeah.
Atlantis. And you want to know more about it, so do I.
Right.
So we've got some theories about Atlantis for this deep dive. Pulled these from a recent History Channel article.
Okay.
It's called Top 6 Theories About Atlantis. It was updated pretty recently, too, August 2nd, 2023.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty recent. So we're going to be talking about sunken continents,
Okay.
volcanic eruptions, even the Bermuda Triangle. We're covering it all.
It's amazing how many different theories there are about Atlantis.
Right.
Everyone wants to try to figure it out.
It's like we're on a treasure hunt,
That's a great way to put it.
a historical treasure hunt.
Yeah.
We're going to look at the evidence,
Right.
see if we can separate fact from fiction.
Okay.
So where do we even begin with something this big?
Well, I think the most recognizable image of Atlantis is a continent in the middle of the Atlantic. You know,
Sunken.
Sunken. Yeah, sunk. And this all comes from a guy named Ignatius Donnelly
Yes.
and his book, Atlantis, the Antediluvian World.
Late 1800s, right?
Yep, that's right.
That's what kicked off this Atlantis craze.
Pretty much.
And his theory is pretty dramatic.
Oh, for sure.
So he argued that ancient civilizations like, let's say, Egyptians, Greeks, they couldn't have developed their advanced technology on their own,
That's what he thought.
that they learned it from a much older civilization,
Right, which would be Atlantis.
which is Atlantis,
Yeah.
and conveniently located near the Straits of Gibraltar,
Oh, yeah, of
what
course.
the Greeks called the Pillars of Hercules.
Right, right.
And then, of course, it got swallowed by the sea.
The whole thing.
So Donnelly thought that Atlantis was submerged because the ocean shifted.
Yeah. You know, the water levels
Yeah.
changed or something.
But we know better now with science.
Right.
Oceanography and plate tectonics.
You know, the Earth is made up of plates.
Right.
These huge plates that move really slowly.
Continents can't just disappear overnight
No, they take millions of years
like that.
to move around.
Yeah. So it makes for a good movie,
Oh, yeah, a great movie.
but it doesn't really hold up scientifically.
No, not really.
But the idea of a lost continent,
Yeah,
it's still appealing.
it is. I wonder why.
I don't know. Okay, so if it wasn't in the Atlantic, where else could it be?
Well, there's this other theory. This one's connected to the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, interesting.
This comes from Charles Berlitz
Okay.
from the 1970s. He was really into paranormal phenomena.
Oh, yeah, the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, where all the ships and planes disappear.
That just adds to the mystery.
It does.
It's Atlantis.
So Berlitz said that Atlantis was near the Bahamas,
Okay.
and it was destroyed by, like, those forces in the triangle.
Right, whatever those are.
Yeah, the ones that make things disappear. And he even said there were underwater structures near Bimini
Wow.
as proof.
Oh.
But they turned out to just be natural rock formations.
Oh, so science debunked it again?
Yeah, they weren't man-made.
But it's still a fun theory?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely exciting.
It's exciting. Okay, well, what about Antarctica?
Antarctica.
I know, right?
How could there be anything there?
That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, I guess so. This theory comes from a guy named Charles Hapgood.
Okay.
He wrote this book, 1958.
Yeah.
It was called Earth's Shifting Crust. He said that the Earth's crust
Okay.
shifted like 12,000 years ago.
Really?
And that moved Antarctica from a temperate zone to the South Pole.
Whoa, so Atlantis was frozen?
Yeah. Covered in ice.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
Hey.
But,
Oh,
you know, plate tectonics,
yeah.
it kind of disproves that
Yeah.
the continents do move,
Yeah.
but it's really slow.
Over millions of years.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe not Antarctica.
Probably not.
But still, it's cool to think about.
I guess.
Yeah.
What if Atlantis wasn't really about a specific place, though?
What do you mean?
Like, what if it was based on real events?
Oh. You mean like a natural disaster or something?
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe it was inspired by the Black Sea flood.
The Black Sea flood.
Yeah. It happened around 5600 BC.
Okay.
Back then, the Black Sea was just a freshwater lake.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then the Mediterranean Sea broke through the Bosporus Strait,
Okay.
and tons of seawater flooded in.
Wow, that must have been devastating
Oh, yeah.
for the people living there.
For sure. Imagine the stories they must have told
Right?
about this huge flood
Yeah.
and all the land they lost.
It sounds a lot like Atlantis.
It really does.
You know, how it was destroyed.
It's pretty similar.
So maybe lots of myths came from real disasters.
Could be.
That's interesting. Okay, but I want to talk about the Minoans.
The Minoans.
Yeah, they were really cool. They lived on Crete and Thera.
Oh, yeah. They were that advanced Bronze Age civilization.
Yes.
They had palaces, a written language.
They were incredible.
Definitely. And they disappeared really suddenly.
Just like Atlantis.
Yeah. And you know what? They were wiped out by a volcanic eruption.
Really?
Yeah. Thera erupted around 1600 BC.
Okay.
Thera is Santorini now.
Oh, right.
It caused these huge tsunamis that destroyed everything.
So an island civilization gone in a single day?
It's like that. That kind of sounds like Atlantis, right?
It really does. You think Plato might have based his Atlantis on the Minoans?
It's definitely possible.
It's like a puzzle that's almost finished.
But we're missing a piece.
Yeah. So far, we've looked at Atlantis in the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
The Bermuda Triangle. Even Antarctica.
Yeah.
We said maybe it was a retelling of a real event.
Like the Black Sea Flood?
Yeah.
And maybe it was inspired by the Minoans?
But there's one more theory.
Okay.
Maybe the simplest one.
What is it?
What if Atlantis never existed at all?
Oh, you mean it was made up?
Yeah. What if Plato just made it up? That's what a lot of historians and scientists believe.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I mean, we don't have any archaeological evidence.
True.
And Plato was a philosopher.
Not a historian.
Right. He liked to use stories.
To explain his ideas.
Yeah, to explore big concepts.
Exactly.
So maybe Atlantis was a cautionary tale about being too powerful. Or maybe it was his perfect society.
Like his utopia.
Yeah, but we don't know for sure.
We don't.
Which makes it even more interesting, right?
I think so.
It makes people debate.
Yeah.
And think about what Atlantis really was.
Keeps the mystery alive.
Before we go any further,
okay,
let's recap what we've learned.
Sounds good to me.
What stands out to you?
Well, it's just like crazy how many theories there are.
Right.
Everybody wants to find Atlantis.
Yeah. Even if we haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
Do you think we can still learn something from it?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
From the legend, I mean?
Yeah, the legend itself. I mean, some of these theories, even if they aren't like scientifically accurate, they touch on some pretty important themes.
Okay, like what?
Well, Atlantis getting destroyed by some big disaster.
Yeah.
A flood or a volcano or something.
Right.
It shows that even civilizations can be really fragile.
Yeah, no matter how advanced they are.
Exactly.
I mean, even today,
Yeah.
We have climate change,
Right. Yeah,
natural disasters, pandemics.
It makes you think about how vulnerable we are.
And what about hubris?
Oh, yeah, Plato talked about that.
You know?
The Atlanteans got too powerful, too arrogant.
And they were punished for it.
Like they got too big for their britches.
That's a classic story, right?
It is. Like a warning.
Yeah.
About too much ambition.
And we see that today, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like with technology.
Yeah, like
artificial intelligence.
Genetic engineering. Social media.
Right, how it's affecting us.
It's like Atlantis is a warning.
From the past.
To be careful with technology.
Exactly. We have to be careful.
So the legend, even if it's not real.
It tells us to be balanced.
Right.
Not to get too powerful. To respect nature. It's amazing how a story that old is still relevant today.
It is. Makes you think.
If Atlantis was real, what could we learn from it?
It's like trying to understand a message from the past.
What could they teach us about technology, society, the environment?
Yeah.
What mistakes could we avoid?
That's a good question.
I know, right?
Something a lot of people are trying to figure out.
But even if we never find Atlantis, I think the legend makes us think critically.
About our own civilization.
It's like looking for patterns, lessons from history.
It's also about the power of stories.
Yeah.
The Atlantis legend has inspired so much.
Art, books, movies. It shows that even stories that might not be true can still affect us. They can shape how we think. About
ourselves.
About the world.
Sometimes the most powerful truths are in myths and legends.
Yeah. So where do we go from here?
That's a good question.
The search for Atlantis continues.
It does.
But even if we don't find it,
yeah,
what happens to the legend?
Well, I think the search keeps the legend going. There are people who are still looking.
Yeah.
They believe it's out there.
Right. Waiting to be found.
Who knows what we'll find in the future?
New technology.
Exactly. Maybe we'll be able to map the ocean floor better.
Right.
Maybe we can get through the ice in Antarctica.
What if we find some artifact?
Oh, wow.
Or an inscription?
That would be incredible.
That proves Atlantis was real.
Wow.
But even if we don't,
yeah,
I think people will still be fascinated by it.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
The idea of a lost civilization is just so captivating.
And the Atlantis story has everything.
History, myth, mystery. You know what's funny? I've been thinking about all these Atlantis theories.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
What is it?
I don't think I want to know the answer.
Yeah.
Really? You don't want to know if it was real or not?
Part of me doesn't.
Why is that?
Because it's fun to imagine.
Yeah, I guess. What if Atlantis really was out there?
Yeah.
It's like a puzzle that we can try to solve.
I think that's more powerful than just knowing the truth.
I see what you mean.
It's like a shared dream. Everyone can be a part of it.
That's a nice way to think about it.
So, to all our listeners out there, keep exploring the Atlantis legend.
Keep searching.
Read the theories.
Look at the evidence.
And decide for yourself.
What do you believe?
But most importantly, don't be afraid to use your imagination.
Let it run wild.
What if Atlantis did exist?
Yeah.
What was it like?
What secrets did they have?
What can we learn from them? Those are questions for you to think about.
You get to decide.
That's the fun of exploring Atlantis, right?
It is. It's a story that we can all be a part of.
We can be explorers.
And storytellers.
So, to wrap up our deep dive, we want to leave you with a challenge. Don't just look for the lost city. Think about the deeper meaning of the legend.
What's it trying to tell us?
Maybe the real value of Atlantis isn't about finding it,
but understanding it.
The themes of ambition.
The fragility of civilization.
The power of myths. Maybe by embracing the mystery, we can unlock the true potential of the Atlantis legend.
And learn something new about ourselves.
We've gone to the depths of the Atlantic.
The Bermuda Triangle.
Even Antarctica.
All looking for Atlantis.
We've talked about science and speculation.
History and fiction.
But the one thing we know for sure...
What's that?
...is that the Atlantis story is powerful.
It makes us think.
It challenges us.
About the past, the present, the future.
It reminds us that history
isn't just about facts.
It's about stories.
And myths.
It speculates.
It's about the voices we've lost.
And sometimes the most interesting stories
are the ones we don't know for sure.
So we're at the end of our Atlantis deep dive.
This is it.
And we want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
What if we never find out if Atlantis was real? Should we even try?
Maybe the real value is in the questions.
Not the answers.
Maybe the journey is more important
than the destination.
It's about asking the right questions.
And letting those questions guide us.
That's a good way to put it.
So keep exploring.
Keep asking questions.
Keep learning.
And until next time,
keep diving deep.